We, like many startups, we're at a stage where we're transitioning from a very small engineering team. In the 2 years that I've been there, we started at about 12 engineers, and now we're up to about 45. So it's been very, very fast growth. And one of the effects of that has been that even though we do have an on-call schedule that includes all engineers, everyone participates. We were finding more and more that newer folks or more junior folks were unable to solve many of the problems that they were encountering on call. And one of us, more senior people, was sort of getting paged anyway, right? So we had this system where even though theoretically we all took a share on call, right, there were three or four of us who were repeatedly getting paged because we were the people who knew how to solve the problem. Um, MotherDuck is a database, so it's an infrastructure tool. We have a ton of observability data. We have some very complicated dependency chains. It's just a very complex system that takes a while for new folks to wrap their head around to an extent where they're able to be effective troubleshooting production systems. So one of the things that we were hoping to accomplish with an AI-SRE was actually to have Annie be a sort of partner for newer folks when they were starting out. On call and they were starting out troubleshooting issues. She has proved really helpful for that. One of the things that I've actually found really useful is to use her as a learning tool. I'm currently onboarding 3 people at one time, which is a lot. And it's actually been really nice when they've come to me with a question to be able to use that as an opportunity both to sort of trial Annie and get some help with onboarding them and to point them toward Annie to say like, hey, let's ask Anyshift that and see, how that answer looks. And then there's like a nice learning opportunity too to do the moment of like, does this seem right to you? Does it seem like she got the right answer, right, etc. She's also been really useful in incidents. I think one of the things that's really nice about Annie is that she's actually very fun to interact with. So it makes incidents feel a little bit less stressful. People enjoy having her there. And then the other thing that I've noticed is that, like many AI solutions, she's really, really good at doing things that a human being could do, but it would take us a really long time to do it. So, for example, we recently had an issue in production where we had a bug with a newly released like package version that we had just bumped up to. But it wasn't obvious at the outset that that was what was causing the issue. It was a very obscure bug. And so basically, we got to the point where we thought that that was probably the issue, and I was able to ask Annie to also look at our Git repo and pinpoint the moment that we had actually changed that package version as a dependency. And she was able to very, very quickly do the very, I'm sure, difficult work that everyone in this room has done of going through each commit and trying to figure out if this commit could be the one that caused the issue, right? So we got that process that would have taken a human being, even a human being very familiar with the code, probably at best 20 minutes, at worst 2 hours to do. And Annie had it for us in 30 seconds so that she could corroborate our educated guess as to what the issue had been. She then was also able to tell us that like which image we needed to roll back to in order to remove the issue very quickly, and was able to sort of like facilitate that those operational steps at a time when time really does matter.
So you're essentially vibe debugging with Annie.
Absolutely. I would totally describe it that way. And we have her in some certain channels with the infrastructure team for debugging. We also have an Ask Annie channel in Slack. Oh, I should mention, we use her almost completely integrated in Slack. Only myself and another colleague of mine who's sort of also running the trial ever goes into the Annie platform. Everyone else on the team just interacts with her through Slack. So we have an Ask Annie channel that's really fun because like people, I'll sometimes lurk in there, and people who are not on the infrastructure team have sort of gotten wind of it. And they will go in there and ask her questions that are like pretty wild, and she's actually quite useful at helping them out with those things too. So it's cool.